we are both sports fans. I mean, obviously, we're
Oh,
both.
yes.
I don't like to say we're former athletes. I say once an athlete, always an athlete, right?
That'd be a current athlete.
You competed in Taekwondo, right?
Absolutely. That was my favorite sport.
And I remember playing football and basketball and some baseball, of course, too. That got me through college and into professionals for a while. But I never had a coach tell me to go out there and give 50% or give 60% or never did that once. Did you ever have a coach tell you that?
No, never did I have a coach that told me, that team's better than us.
Well, yeah, and even if we did lose a game or something like that, I never would say this, or I never would have a coach tell me this, that, they're just better than you. You're not as good as. Now, sometimes you might hear us saying, well, they made more plays than you did. But the thing that really bugged me about some of the stuff that I see today is we've lowered our bar so much. It's almost like I think about the participation trophy kind of concept, I mean, you can go out there and give 50% and you still get a trophy. But I didn't get a trophy for second place. Did you?
I never got a trophy for second place. It's like we're actually putting people in a position to hold themselves back from being excellent.
Well, I agree. As we deal with people around the country and the globe, I mean, to get their hope back in them. And I put that back in the idea of athletics. You can't go out there and perform in an excellent manner if you're not having the mindset that you're going to go out there and not only give it your best, but you got to see yourself doing your best. And a lot of people don't even have a concept like that. They don't have a vision of that. And that to me is quite sad.
Well, it is quite sad. So if we're lowering the bar, we have to really start to get into the weeds with people and understand the things that are actually holding them back. In fact, we've written this awesome book. It's called Fork Your Diet.
Oh, yeah.
And in that book, it talks about several things that literally hold people back or keep them from being their best. And those things are fear, resentment, anger, unforgiveness, disappointment, and shame.
Wow.
And we find out a lot of times that one thing that is holding somebody back is rooted in spiritual or emotional brokenness.
I hadn't thought about that recently. I mean, that book was great. I remember we wrote that. Remember the day we were in their office and I came back to you and I said, you're not going to believe this. And I wrote down FRAUDS and those words just came out. I was like,
what does that spell?
Gosh, frauds.
Wow.
And I thought, people are losing their identity, because they've allowed these things to get in their life that holds them back or really who they are, who they're supposed to be or who they even could become. And it's heartbreaking because, as we're out here approaching 6 decades on life, I know you can't believe that, right? Again, she doesn't look a day under more than 29, in my opinion.
And you don't look a day over 28.
There you go. That's why I love her so much. That's why I call her she's not my spare rib. No, she's my prime rib.
And I'm part of the rib cage.
Love that. So the bottom line is, we're not going to let anybody outwork us. We've never went into what we do, whether it's writing books or doing movies or doing a one-on-one encounter with somebody. We're not going to do less than our best. There's no way. And we've even made the commitment nobody's going to outwork us. And boy, I sometimes wish we hadn't done that one. But the bottom line is the best that we can do is going to be the best that we can do. But when we lower that bar so much, that can hold anyone back from achieving what they could be doing. And they just kind of live life that way with no expectations. And that really is what grieves me the most about things that get in people's way and hold them back.
Yeah, so I think we need to really kind of get the chutzpah, if you will, back in leadership. We need to raise the bar. We need to find out why people are so held back by fear, resentment, anger, unforgiveness, disappointment, and shame, and why they hold themselves back from absolute excellence.
If I had to name one thing that holds people back, it would be this. And this is kind of a concept or an idea, but I really do feel like this. It's the failure to look at your own life in an introspective way and recognize where you failed. and recognize that failure doesn't have to be permanent, but how you can learn from that and make it better. We've all made mistakes. We all have this sort of suitcase full of baggage, if you will. We need to look at that in our own lives. And a lot of people don't face that. You mentioned leadership. When's the last time you heard a leader say, geez, I blew that one, or geez, I'm sorry, or geez, how about this one? Asking a question of people, will you forgive me? That doesn't happen. And that is a sort of an epidemic of epidemic of worldwide proportions when you don't have that within your own life. You mentioned leadership, but you can't lead in your own life and you got those things that are holding you back. We've just failed as people. We can fail as men, we can fail as women, we can fail as fathers and mothers, whatever we do.
So basically that boils down to the person looking back at themselves at the mirror. We've got to evaluate. We've got to determine what that one thing is that's holding us back. Resolve it so we can move forward.
Remember the guy? He's one of the greatest philosophers of all time. You just don't know it. He wore one glove. You know who I'm talking about?
I think I do.
One glove.
Is that Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson. He made a song one time talking about looking at the man in the mirror. If you want to make a change, he said it in a way, want to make a change? You got to look at the man in the mirror.
How did that go?
I'm not going to do that one more time. The bottom line is really, there's a lot of truth in that. If you want to make a change in the world, you got to make a change with the person staring you back in the mirror. So, if people are out there right now listening, and you want to make change, this is what we do. This is what we're gifted at. So if you want to make those changes and sort of help identify the things that's holding you back and achieve the best health, physically, emotionally, spiritually, reach out to us and we'd love to help take you to the next level.
I know you are God. I can't believe I trusted you.
I'm Michelle. I'd love to work here.
Do you have what it takes to be a champion?
Yes, Master, I do.
We need to get you in more competition.
And
Nationals?
finally, the Olympic team selection tournament.
Did somebody try to hurt you again?
But I don't think anyone will ever believe me.
She's working on being a homeless Olympic champion, and now she has somebody footing the bill for college so she can become a doctor.
We have to pray on the list so that in all of God's glory, each item on the list will come to a fruitful and gratifying beginning.
And when you navigate through these economies with people, here's what happens. We want to hold their hand through it, let them know when it's time to buy, sell, reallocate, get out of Dodge. Because a lot of times when you're struck with fear does two things. Number one, it can paralyze and people just put their head in the sand and say, I'm just going to forget about it and hopefully it gets better. Or it causes you to make a wrong decision. And this is why we are here, is to help people navigate through the political quagmire nonsense that's going on, the economic malaise and the absolute collapse that we're seeing. And when our freedoms are eroding, our political freedoms, our economic freedoms, our personal freedoms, our religious freedoms, our health freedoms, they're all tied together. But you know what doesn't need to erode with that? Our finances.
KirkElliottPhD.com/Sherwood.
Hello, I'm Kevin Sorbo. Now, there's an old saying, it's not what you know, but who you know that matters. Now, that's true in our careers, spiritual life, and when it comes to our health and overall well-being. Today, most of us know a lot of information about health and nutrition, but are we really doing anything with it? So here's what I've learned from working with Doctors Michele and Mark Sherwood. They're the founders of the Functional Medical Institute. You need a wellness plan that's customized based on your unique needs. Now remember, real change can only happen when you address the whole person. That is exactly what Mark and Michele do, and why they are people you should know. They'll help you discover what you need to experience transformation. Find out at Sherwood.tv/Sorbo. That's Sherwood.tv/Sorbo. twitch.tv/Sorbo, or just see the link below. Have a great day and God bless.
Exploring biohacking, bioharmonizing, biosynergizing, stacking, resilience, or anti-fragility?
Start here. No gimmicks, just proven results.